Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up tonight. We gonna light it up just like the sunrise. We gonna light it up now.
Forgot to add myself to the stage. Welcome in, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. It's good to see everybody. It's good to see you guys all in the chat. And I want to say congratulations. I thought I saw something up top, Magamama's daughter. I love that. Well, if you're still in the chat, congratulations to her. Congratulations to you, because you raised that girl to be, who she is today. And that's awesome. That's so awesome. Occupational therapy. I remember when I was in occupational therapy, I had the biggest crush on my occupational therapist. Let me tell you, I did. But if you're new to the channel, hi, my name is Tanya, or TitaniumBuilt. It's nice to meet you. Thank you for joining me today and going over some documents that we've been going over for the last week or so since they've come out. So we'll start right in with the documents. We'll say hi to some people and then we'll get right into it. So welcome in. How's everybody doing today? Today is the 20th, and I think it's Wednesday, isn't it? Yeah, it's Wednesday. It's been a crazy day around here already in the Tanya and Vincent household. Hey, Kitsy Cats. Hey, Boone. I know. I'm liking these two. I am too. I think it's a good time. Hey, Mary Beth. Hey, CJK. Hey, Cat Ride. Hey, Kira. See, and like I feel like when we do it at this time, I don't know, we get more people too. Hey, Kara, how you doing? Oh, thanks, CJK. I appreciate that. It's good to see you. Hey, Kathy. And it's good to see you, Boone. It's good to see everybody. Hey, Lori. From Texas. Oh my gosh, I bet you have the best accent. I love Southern accents. I'm a sucker for them. Because you could be yelling at people and it's like, it just still sounds so sweet. Hey, Tossed Penny. I like that name. That's a cute name. Hey, DM. It's good to see you. Hey, Kathy. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see everyone here. If you guys don't mind, like every YouTuber in the whole wide world will ask you to do, if you don't mind, hit the like button. If you do appreciate the content, make sure you do hit the like button and you subscribe to the channel. That's all we really ask. That's all we ask for around here. If you want to do something extra and you want to become a member, I'll pin the link to the top of the chat and it'll be floating in, I think, Nightbot as well. So it'll either be pinned or, yeah, it'll be on Nightbot. So let's go ahead and pull these up. We've got, I forget what number we're on. We're covering the ISP documents right now. We've already went through the Moscow documents that came out, and then we went through the Pullman documents that came out, and now we're going through ISP. So we went through a lot of pages. We've been through 331 out of 556. I think we're doing good, and we're learning a lot. I think we are anyway. Yesterday on the live, we went over last night. We went over people that were talking, about Brian and how they felt about him at WSU. And we stopped here. And this is still kind of talking about, Brian and his time at WSU. So we'll go ahead and we'll start reading through at all of them. Just at the top, I'll just let you know, they just always say administrative information. It just is what they put in like for the office use. So and it just has like the detective's name, ISP, all that stuff. So, and then it'll have a summary narrative, and then you go down and have the witnesses, and then it'll have the actual narrative of what happened. So in the top, it'll say like, this is when he started recording. So they learned in this interview, everybody's name is redacted. A lot of things are redacted, but I want to try not to say redacted too much, but I say that every day. So she was a sophomore at WSU. She also had been something else at WSU since the previous year. The office in which she works is located in the office. Her desk is near the entrance to that section of the building. She mostly works for, and it's redacted, it was common for graduate students to meet with her and discuss their education and future plans. She first met Brian Kohberger, date of birth, when he came into the office to meet with, and it's redacted. Shortly thereafter, Kohberger began coming into the office nearly every day to talk. This occurred during business hours. Kohberger's conversations became personal instead of focused on his studies or work as a teacher's assistant. Kohberger had an office downstairs, but did not really have a reason to be in, I think, her office area. On some days, she would be working alone from 3 to 5 p.m., which was normal closing hours. Kohberger began coming in there seemingly to talk to, it's redacted. She would try to focus on her work, but Kohberger would remain whether or not she interacted heavily with him. On one occasion, she was downstairs and came back to the office to lock up. Kohberger was in the office. She informed him that she was closing the office, and Kohberger walked outside with her. Kohberger asked her if she wanted to get coffee. She declined, saying her girlfriend was here to pick her up, and walked away. I'm a lesbian, man. She thought this was inappropriate as they were both students. This was her first uncomfortable or strange interaction with Kohberger. I wonder if that girl was really her girlfriend. Or if it was just like a friend picking her up, you know what I mean? Because like people be like that, Here, I'll blow myself up a little bit more. So then she told her bosses about the incident. They told her they did not want her alone with him and informed her of several resources she could use, such as having a security escort or simply leaving. That's crazy to me. The first thing they say is, we can get you a security escort. I think the first thing they should have done was go straight to Kohberger and be like, stop being so damn creepy and following girls out to their car. They don't like it. Because it's not like this was the first person. There was multiple people. So, yeah, I don't know. That's just crazy to me. So then Kohberger continued to come into the office when she was there alone. On one occasion, he would stand directly behind her chair as she was working. Kohberger remained directly behind her for a while and did not move until another advisor came into the room. Only then did Kohberger move away. She was informed staff had talked to Kohberger as many as 5 times about his behavior. After about the 3rd meeting, Kohberger did not come into the office as much to socialize. She would see Kohberger in the hallway and said he would, corner her and attempt to conversate. She would try not to engage, but Kohberger would attempt to force a conversation. She clarified that Kohberger physically concerned her, standing in a manner where she could not leave without running into him. She described this as scary, especially when she was alone. I would be scared too. I would. She recounted another incident where she saw Kohberger walking outside as she was locking up. Kohberger made eye contact with her when she looked out, which seemed strange because you would have to be looking directly at the window where she worked to make eye contact. Kohberger entered the building as she was leaving. She hurried into the bathroom to hide and avoid contact with Kohberger. When she thought about it later, she hid as if on instinct due to how uncomfortable contact with Kohberger had become. I'm surprised he didn't walk up in the bathroom. Kohberger had a reputation for being very homophobic. Wow. Sometimes this person's boss would take her home so she would not have to walk by herself or take the bus. She became concerned because of how many precautions she perceived were being taken because of Kohberger. Yeah, I would too. I would be concerned too. She recounted an incident in which her neighbor saw someone very close outside her window and told her to make sure to lock the door. She did not know who that person was, but learned she lived fairly close to Kohberger. She learned from professors that Kohberger was fired as a teacher's assistant after the fall 2022 semester was over. She described all the interactions she had with Kohberger as uncomfortable, except for the very first time she saw him. She saw Kohberger almost daily until winter break. The conversations Kohberger would start with her were not necessarily in an educational or professional context. She perceived the conversations happened only for Kohberger to be around her. She only knew of one time where Kohberger behaved differently than he normally did. Kohberger needed to talk to her, or redacted, this is another person, redacted, who was in the office, and it's redacted. And redacted again, sorry. This person was speaking with Kohberger, and they were waiting near the door. This person thought Kohberger wanted to speak to him. He declined this and continued speaking with redacted. So Kohberger came into the room and sat in a chair, but nobody acknowledged him. When he realized this, he became angry and stormed out. He has some issues there. She described Kohberger as very angry, as if he had to build up a fury or rage. It was her opinion that Kohberger became angry because he was ignored and nobody acknowledged him. I asked redacted if Kohberger acted any differently after the homicides in Moscow. After thinking about it, she said it was right around that same time that Kohberger stopped coming into the office as much. Prior to that time, she had described Kohberger as somewhat arrogant and held her head up high when describing him. After that, she said Kohberger kept to himself more and seemed to be less interactive. When she described Kohberger after the homicides, redacted kept her head down. Okay. Kohberger did not disclose personal details or anything about himself when he would talk to her. There was one instance where he may have placed a hand on her shoulder, but it was during conversation and not to physically control or assault her. Specifically, she thought it was strange that Kohberger seemed to know her schedule and intentionally encounter her. She described herself as a gay woman and thought it was also strange because she had previously told Kohberger she had a girlfriend. So I guess she did. This did not seem to deter him. He's like, challenge accepted. I don't know. Of all the students she had interacted with, Kohberger was the only one that made her feel uncomfortable. Okay. End of report. Wow. Can you imagine, like, he's a pretty tall guy, right? I mean, and he has those broad shoulders too. He might be slim, but he's got like broader shoulders. He's got like that triangle kind of body, like broad and then waist is smaller. I don't know. But just imagine you're trying to leave work. Oh, at the end of the day, you just want to leave work so bad. And then like, just imagine 10 minutes till you're ready to walk out the door. Kohberger stops by. I wouldn't have been nice. I wouldn't have been. Hey, Marcella. Welcome in, everybody. Hey, Jet Set. Hey, Gummy Drops. Thank you. I appreciate that. Welcome in, everyone. I wasn't looking at the chat that much because I was reading. Hey, Tracy. Hey, Toss Penny. I think I said hi to you earlier, but that's okay. I'll say it again. Mary Beth, hello, hello, hello. Okay, thank you guys for being here. So this is suspect Brian Kohberger. Okay, witness 1. This is about phone tolls. This interview is not recorded. I hate that. Okay, so this person verbally identified. So she verbally identified herself to me and informed me she had a North Dakota driver's license. She informed me she was it's redacted at the redacted in which Kohberger had resided. Oh, I guess the apartments. She did not remember any contact with Kohberger. She coordinates services for about 100 tenants and is frequently contacted by them for repairs or apartment issues. Shortly after a tenant moves in, as part of her duties, she goes to their apartment, introduces herself, and makes sure they have the right phone numbers to call if they have certain issues with their apartment. She keeps a record of when she hasn't completed this with a new tenant. She checked her records and had documented that she met with Kohberger at his apartment on August 13th. She did not have any memory of Kohberger and was only aware of this contact because it was in her records. I think it's the apartments, but host monthly events for tenants. She keeps a record of which tenants attended these events. The records show that Kohberger did not attend any of the hosted events. I'm kind of surprised because he went to the 2 events at school or whatever that they had. So you would think that he might want to meet people in his apartment. I don't know. We have events here all the time though. I never go. I should. So this is another one about Brian. Okay, they didn't record the interview. So this person identified himself with his Idaho driver's license. Kohberger's phone tolls indicate contact with this person, which was redacted cell phone number. Okay. He informed me that he had viewed pictures of Kohberger and did not recognize or have any memory of him. This person works part-time as a redacted delivery driver and possibly had contact with Kohberger during a food delivery, DoorDash, I guess. He did not find any calls or texts on his cell phone with Kohberger. He also tried searching the DoorDash, application to see if he had completed a food order for Kohberger. However, he informed me that once an order has been filed and completed, the DoorDash employee is not able to view the customer information on the application. So, okay, couldn't find any interaction with him on his cell phone. Okay, so this is follow-up tips, video collection, and witness 1 again. I don't know why they do that, but they forgot to put witness 2, I think. They're all witness 1. Okay. Oh, there's a lot of them. How long is this? Wow, okay. So we have a lot of people in here. So these are tip numbers 0196 and 0648. And they were given these by ISP. They're both phone tips called in, and they're all redacted. So I contacted redacted via phone on November 22nd at 2:46 p.m. and 3:23 p.m. The following is a summary of the information this person provided. He saw a student with a gash between his eyebrows in the College of Education building on the 3rd floor. He could not remember the date, but believed it was the 16th of November. The student was a white male, approximately 6 foot tall and 190 pounds. His head was shaved on the sides with bushy hair on top, and he was wearing a red sweater. He requested camera footage at this time and location, not to be overwritten. Ethan Chapin was a sophomore. He was Chapin's redacted throughout his enrollment. His last contact with Chapin was approximately 1 month before the incident. They talked about WUE, a scholarship program for out-of-state students. The previous year, he saw Chapin weekly to check in on how he was doing with his courses. Chapin was very relaxed and social. The focus of the weekly meetings was to increase Chapin's grades while he was on an academic probation. And this person, or C, he is redacted and had seen her in person approximately 3 to 4 times. His last contact with her was in an email on November 1st regarding coursework about a week before the incident. And then this other person's, it's all redacted. He is redacted. and had seen her in person approximately 3 times. His last contact with her was this summer regarding her classes and schedule. She had come in from the College of Natural Resources and Wilderness and Fishing majors. I don't know who they're talking about because they didn't say a person's name. Okay. Okay, so this they just said, told her about the incident, not to come in. Okay, so these people, they say they were traumatized. They may not be returning for classes. People are saying that they're staying, at their family's home. It says, records of the deceased victims have been removed from the Vandal Star system. This system is used to make appointments and keep appointment notes between U of I staff and students. It is standard practice for the records of deceased students to be immediately removed from the system. Wow, guess you don't waste the time. All right. Not like they're going to break into the damn system. I guess somebody that had their information could, but I mean, who wants to break into who wants to talk to somebody at the U of I? Like, they don't need to, right? So it says redacted and redacted are both redacted students, as was Chapin. I'm going to say that these are Dylan and Bethany, are both bubbly and sweet girls. Nothing stood out to him about either of them. Redacted was cooperative and eager to answer any questions and help in any way possible. He was agreeable to being recontacted for any reason. So then on December 6th, Moscow Police Department Sergeant Dustin Blaker viewed the camera footage recorded on November 16th on the 3rd floor of the College of Education building in search of the individual described. Okay. Sergeant Blaker was not able to locate that individual. Okay, well, we see that tip sucked. So this is tips number 407 or 4,715 and 4,719. On December 1st, 2022. Okay, so that's when they were given those tip numbers. These tips came in from the Federal Bureau of Investigation forensic accountant Mike Douglas. F.A. Douglas requested copies of receipts for Kaylee Gonzalez purchased at Taj Grocery on November 12th, 2022, and Grub Wandering Kitchen on November 13th, 2022. Gonzalez bank statement showed 2 purchases at Taj Grocery on November 12th, 2022. The purchases totaled $18.01 and $37.08. Her bank statement also showed a purchase at Grub Wandering Kitchen on November 13th. This purchase totaled $11. I went to Taj Grocery and requested the clerk search their system for the purchase on November 12th using the last 4 digits of Gonzalez's credit card number. This search returned no results. I requested the clerk search the transaction history using the dollar amounts of the purchases. There were 3 purchases totaling $18.01 and 1 purchase totaling $37.08. The last 4 digits of the card number, they put it over here now, 2474, used in the transaction totaling $37.08 at 11:06:33 a.m. matched those of one of the transactions totaling $18.01 at 11:08:38. Okay. Each of these receipts showed the card entry method as countless EMV. I collected duplicate receipts of these transactions as evidence pending further investigation. I think contactless EMV means she didn't insert her PIN, insert her card. She used the chip reader. I think that's what that is. So Grub Wandering Kitchen is a mobile food truck. Oh, well, that's why we know. So, okay. With the following hours, Wednesday and Thursday, 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. This would have been the Grub truck video. So the Grub truck is going to be the other receipt. So I contacted the owner via phone and requested he search his system for the purchase using the last 4 digits of Gonzalez's credit card. The search did not provide any results. On November 13th, I requested he search the system for the purchase using the last 4 digits of redacted. This search provided a transaction at 1:42 a.m. of $11. A portion of the text near the bottom of the receipt read Visa, and it says contactless. So maybe that's why the system wasn't picking it up, because it was contactless. I don't know. I contacted F.A. Douglas via phone and provided the information with the card number ending in redacted. Moscow Police Department Danny Vargas showed me a video of surveillance from Grub Wandering Kitchen that showed Gonzalez using her phone to pay for her order in the appropriate time frame. F.A. Douglas later sent me an email explaining information he received from Gonzalez's financial institution. They explained the transactions were processed using iPhone app Apple Pay. Okay, so she tapped her phone instead of, okay. Gotcha. The Apple Pay is linked to Gonzalez's account. Transactions using this iPhone will then link to token number, and it's redacted. That is why the token number is on the receipts. Okay. So they got a duplicate receipt. They processed it into evidence. And then the next one is another tip. It looks like tip 5,684, and they went to a gas station. They identified themselves and explained to the assistant manager, and the name's redacted, we needed to collect surveillance footage. That person showed us the camera views they had in their store. We determined the most useful cameras to identify persons and vehicles and asked this person to download copies of the recorded footage from those cameras on November 12th, 2022 from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. I left a USB thumb drive with this person and returned later that day to collect it. So then they interview someone on November 18th. They interview this person, the Federal Bureau of Investigations, Special Agent S.A. Ryan O'Neill, and FBI S.A. Christopher Sheehan. The following is an excerpt from the interview report written by FBI S.A. O'Neill. At 4:30 p.m., this person got a text from redacted had gone home to take ibuprofen and stretch his back because his back was bothering him. This person had been hunting recently and his back was sore from carrying his gear. Shortly thereafter, redacted, and met up with another person. They went to McDonald's and they redacted where they bought a case of beer. Okay, so, and then they identified the other person. So register one, it says they reviewed a camera angle, register one that showed both registers from this camera. Each patron and what they were purchasing is clearly visible. It did not appear that either of these people purchased beer or even entered the store from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. So then Detective Powell and this other person returned to the gas station and requested further footage from the same cameras and a few additional cameras. We requested copies of the recorded footage on November 12th from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. A previous request had been made for recorded footage from November 12th at 10 p.m. to November 13th at 6 a.m. So 10 p.m. on November 12th, all the way through to 6 a.m., November 13th. I left this person with 2 USB thumb drives. Detective Powell and I returned later that day to collect the footage recorded on November 12th, 2022, from 12 to 4 and from 6 to 10. The other footage was not yet ready to be picked up. On December 5th, they returned to collect the footage and they had it ready. Okay. So I received the footage captured on November 12th, 2022 by camera angle register 1 from 6 to 10 p.m. ISP Detective Matt Henley reviewed the footage captured on November 12th, 2022 by camera angle register 1. And that was from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. And then we've got Detective Powell, and he's doing the camera angle from all pumps from 6 to 10 p.m. After review of all this footage, it did not appear redacted, purchased beer, or even enter the store from 12 p.m. to 10 p.m. So then this person went to the McDonald's to collect surveillance footage. They're just like ruling someone out, it looks like. So they explained themselves. They said they needed to collect the surveillance footage. They showed camera views they had in their store. So they determined the most useful cameras. And then they had an interview. He was interviewed by all the same people I just said. And this is the same thing I just read. That they bought a case of beer. Okay, that's the same thing I just read. They reviewed the footage from multiple camera angles. It did not appear that neither of those people entered the McDonald's from 4 to 6 p.m. Someone's lying. I also watched the drive-thru for vehicles matching the description, those commonly driven by these 2 people, and they did not see anything that matched. Okay. They conducted another interview. I wonder if they ever go back and talk to those people. And this one was at the Moscow Police Department. So this person had reported through multiple calls and emails to the FBI tip line. The tip suggested the following. Redacted owned a 2011 to 2019, it's redacted. He knew the victims. He deactivated his social media accounts following the release of the description of the vehicle. He described himself as a clinical psychopath in a TikTok video. He was at the corner club the night before the homicides. He was walking in the area of 1122 King Road. The following is a summary of the interview. Listen to the audio for full details. Are you kidding me? So this person works in Moscow. He lives in Moscow. His phone number is this. He belongs to a fraternity and pledged in the spring of 2020. He was in class with Xana and Maddie. He did not know Xana and Maddie personally. He followed Maddie on Instagram, was Facebook friends with her because that's how they communicated in class. He has been to a redacted out of house near 1122 King Street a handful of times. He was at the Corner Club the night of November 12th. He arrived there between 7 and 8 with his roommate and their friends. They had walked to the Corner Club from their house. They stayed there till about midnight until their friend picked him up and took him to his apartment where he spent the night. He did not go to the grub truck after he left the Corner Club. A Facebook account is redacted with approximately 60,000 followers posted his Instagram account, and people are saying he was involved in the incident. He deactivated his Facebook account and made his social media accounts private because they were bringing unfavorable attention to include death threats. I was going to say that in the beginning. That's why he deactivated his social media. He owns this car, and he does not own or have access to a Hyundai Elantra. The TikTok post about being a clinical psychopath was a joke. He does not believe he should be diagnosed with any sort of mental disorder. He agreed to a buccal swab, a DNA sample. So, and then he took his phone with consent and they downloaded the phone. Attempt to identify vehicles through interviews. Okay, so owner of similar vehicle observed on security footage. That's what it says on all these, but it doesn't give us who. Okay. So this person they interviewed regarding their vehicle and their activity on November 12th and 13th. This person's been living in Moscow since August 1st, 2022. He was awake playing games on his phone with headphones in until approximately 2 a.m. He drove the redacted on Saturday for errands. He didn't go anywhere until he left for work on Monday morning. He never talked to any of the victims. He was currently in Ratham, Idaho, and would be returning around January 9th. So then on December 16th at 9:49 a.m., he interviews someone else over the phone regarding his vehicle, and they provide the following information. He was with his roommate on November 12th and stayed in and played video games until about 3 a.m. He gives the number for his friend. He was up at 9:30 a.m. on November 13th, but didn't go anywhere that day. He loosely knew Kernodle and Mogan through his girlfriend, who was in the same sorority as them. He was in Boise at the time of the interview and would return after January 8th. They were all, at home. So on December 16th at 12:55, he interviewed someone over the phone regarding their vehicle and their activity, on the dates. He was, it says redacted, until about 11 to 11:30 p.m. on November 12th. He went home and was awake for about an hour and a half before he went to sleep at about 1:30 a.m. On December 16th, they interviewed someone else regarding her vehicle. She parks the redacted her boyfriend's apartment, and it's located in Moscow. She and that person went shopping, and her friend went shopping, and he dropped her off at her dorm around 5 p.m. She didn't have the person's phone number. She lives with 2 other roommates. She went back to his apartment and played board games with his roommates. This person had said when they went to take out the trash, they heard someone say, "Oh my God, someone's passed out. We got to call someone." When was that? Okay. Wonder when that was, when he took his trash out. On December 20th, they interviewed someone else regarding their vehicle. He moved to Moscow with his ex-girlfriend about 2.5 years ago. He gives the ex-girlfriend, he was a delivery driver. He was friends with and gives the friends, I guess. And he lives with these other people. Him and his girlfriend broke up on November 22nd after having been together for 2.5 years. And then they had a falling out that resulted in them terminating their lease early and moving to redacted in Moscow. Okay. So this is just about, okay. This is a girl that they interviewed about her car. Nothing, important. Like she, it's nothing that was like, oh, she's involved. She said she took her dog out about 11 o'clock a.m. the next day. She didn't see anything, of importance. So then on January 12th, they interview another Washington State University student. This person is in the criminal justice class with Kohberger. She first met Kohberger at orientation right before classes started for the semester. She didn't talk to Kohberger much at orientation, but thought he came across as pretentious. Kohberger was routinely 1 of 2 minutes late, or was routinely 1 to 2 minutes late. And it says 2 redacted. So the professor was unhappy with this behavior and publicly scolded Kohberger on one occasion for being late. Kohberger approached her in September for help grading a case brief. Sorry. By that time, Kohberger had a reputation of being a dick. Damn, Kohbergs. When was it? September? Oh my God. We keep going further and further up. So you got there in what, May or June? We'll say May, June, July. What was it? August, September, 4 months. And then you're already known as a dick. Oh my goodness. You can't even fake it for a little while. So she perceived Kohberger as kind of quiet, well-read, and fairly well-spoken. Kohberger dressed very smartly, i.e. khakis or nice jeans with a collared button-down shirt. The following are examples of complaints she had heard against Kohberger. He was disrespectful towards his professors. He instigated contentious arguments in class. He expressed concern over the progeny. Okay, I can't say that word. Progeny. But we're gonna find out. Progeny. I did say it right the first time. A descendant or descendants of a person, animal, or plant. Okay, that doesn't make sense. That's what the definition is. Of one of their classmates that had a hearing disability. He was an ableist. He only talked back to or criticized female professors and students, so he is sexist. He thinks highly of himself and doesn't interact well with other people. After talking with her friends and coworkers in the department, she feels very strongly that Kohberger is an incel. Damn. And he thinks he deserves female sexual companionship. I wonder if he ever got that ever in his life. I mean, just curious. Probably not. Probably never got, a hug from a woman other than his mother. Not even that, Well, ain't ever going to happen now, Kohberger. Okay, so let's go down. This is about a suspect, Kohberger. Look at all those names. Acquaintance. Okay. They conducted a follow-up interview on the Washington State campus. And this person lives in Pullman, Washington. So at approximately 21:31 hours Eastern time, this was December 30th, this person called the FBI National Threat Operations Center to report information on the Moscow, Idaho quadruple homicide suspect. This person told us she was redacted on her last semester and was currently on the job market. She said her responsibilities were assisting teachers with curriculums, grading, and managing classes. She also said she was redacted in person and online. She first told she met Brian Kohberger a week before the start of the semester during her department's orientation. Her first impression of Kohberger was he spoke in a weird cadence with a robotic tone. She stated her first actual conversation with Kohberger was at a barbecue held at a house in Pullman, Washington on August 28th. Her first conversation? So did he not get there till August? I swear. If it took him a month to be called a dick, I'll be so surprised. I mean, like, you can't 1 month, you know what I mean? Like, that would, come on now. So she said the faculty, staff, and grad students were invited, no undergrads. She explained Kohberger introduced himself as Brian and asked what she was researching. She said Kohberger was instantly off-putting as he attempted to explain the subject of her research to her. She said she was immediately done listening to him and that he rubbed her the wrong way with the conversation. She explained she did not have regular contact or conversations with Kohberger and would only occasionally exchange pleasantries with him in the hallway since their offices were close to each other's. She explained a lot of the things she knew about Kohberger was second and third hand, as she was kind of the mom of the group and people would come to her with their problems. She said she could tell by her interaction with Kohberger at the barbecue she was not going to attempt to take him under her wing, as she put it. She stated she was not a redacted for any of Kohberger's classes, nor did she grade his papers or assignments. She said she was asked by, and it's unknown spelling, to be a guest lecturer for one of her professional development classes sometime in September. Kohberger was a student in that class at the time. She said she talked to the class about being a teacher's assistant, how to grade, and how to build rapport with their students. During her class, she said Kohberger asked her how to build rapport with students. She explained her method of building rapport and stated that was the only interaction she had with him during and after the class. When asked to describe her professional relationship with Kohberger, she said they did not have one, nor did she want one based on her initial interaction with him and the rumor she heard. She said, pretty early on, I started leaving my office door open when he was in the office, especially if there was ever a student in there, because I just wanted to make sure that nothing was inappropriate. That is insanity to me. Why was he there? Like, why did you guys allow him to stay there? Like, he's doing all these things. You should have kicked him off campus. Wow, you know what I mean? I feel like if they would have paid a little more attention, like, I mean, they're telling people, we'll get you an escort, or we'll do this. I'm leaving my door open so students aren't alone with him, and this, that, and the other. He should have been out of there. Like, no questions asked. If the students are feeling very insecure and very like uncomfortable with this person being there, why is he there? Like, you know what I mean? Like, I understand, give him a chance, whatever, but they gave him like 3 chances. He came back and he's doing the same shit again. Came back doing, I mean, it's like, you know what I mean? I don't know, but they should have kicked him back to PA. So, man, it says, like, I felt early on that this guy was going to do something inappropriate with a student. She said she even spoke to her mom about Kohberger and referred to him as the creepy guy. She said she did not overhear any conversations in Kohberger's office. Yeah, because nobody went in his office. No one went to visit Kohberger. Outside of the 2 previously mentioned interactions with Kohberger, she had no other dealings or meetings with Kohberger other than exchanging pleasantries and passing. So he's a creepy guy, but you're exchanging pleasantries. I don't get it. She was unaware of any personal information about Kohberger, if he had any outside employment, and had heard he did not drink. Okay. She said she had a conversation with someone, unknown spelling, where she asked if Kohberger was redacted. She did not know him she did not know him. And it says, she then told this person Kohberger was doing some weird things and described a few encounters. Oh, what? She mentioned confronting Kohberger about stealing water out of the communal fridge. Oh my good God. So I'm about to write all this shit down. We need to start writing this down. Okay. I'm giving my pencil and paper. This is ridiculous. I just dropped my pen. That's ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Okay. How many, wasn't it like 9 complaints, 6 complaints? So we're going to put 9. 9 complaints. Women needed escorts to their car. He was stealing. She mentioned Kohberger had an inappropriate encounter, like asking her out on a date with a work study student that worked in the office next to redacted. So, okay. Unprofessional. We'll put dates so we can remember. Like, this guy's doing the mostest, and when he's still there, I don't get it. So then she mentions instances of Kohberger just hanging around in the office by the work study student, and an instance of Kohberger following the work study student out of the building. another person he's following. She mentioned instances of Kohberger hanging out, doing nothing while the work student was working. She said there was another time, approximately September, October timeframe, where this person, unknown spelling, came to her office and asked her to monitor Kohberger's behavior because they wanted to track it. Oh yeah, they were tracking that too. Remember tracking his behavior? This is, oh my goodness, this is already getting long. So I think I might write WSU and be like, why did, what, huh? Why did you give him all these chances? So it says, she said there was another time approximately, okay. Said monitor her behavior because she wanted to track it. She was instructed to write down everything she saw and to notify this other person. She explained to Redacted all the rumors she had heard about Kohberger being aggressive with the faculty in conversations, like cornering them in hallways and offices, asking out people inappropriately, and mansplaining things. So Redacted told Redacted they could not give Kohberger a PhD and give him authority. Well, that's what he was going for, and you had no choice. If he passed his classes, he would get the PhD. So why was he there then that long? I mean, y'all just, we can't give him a PhD. This person's that the F you can't. If he did the classes, you would have no choice. If you know what I mean, if he didn't murder 4 people. So Unredacted told us her friend, unknown spelling, okay, had an office next to hers. They told her about an incident where a student named, its unknown last name, left the class due to an exchange she had with Kohberger that made her mad to the point of tears. A couple of days after the incident, she ran into this person and asked if she was okay. This person said she knew she was referring to her incident with Kohberger without actually saying that specifically. Redacted said someone with unknown spelling overheard a confrontation in the hallway between Kohberger and another person. It says Kohberger was questioning this person's participation point system and teaching methods in a manner that was very public and did not allow this person to disengage. They said she had never heard of any other student having those issues with this professor and referred to Redacted as one of the best professors. She told us about an incident involving someone with an unknown spelling who teaches multicultural. She said outside of the Wilson Short building at the bottom of the steps, there was a confrontation between Kohberger and someone else that made her uncomfortable and had trouble walking away from him as he wouldn't let her disengage. She stated it was to the point another student, named and it's redacted, had to intervene. She said she did not know what the confrontation was about. I think I'm really going to write a freaking note, like a letter. I want an answer. Redacted told us about another incident where she was told about a student who was was presenting in her class and the presentation was going to be long. She told her she interrupted and stopped the student's presentation because they needed to move on. After class, the student who was interrupted confronted Redacted about being stopped and how that was not right and they should have been able to finish their presentation. So this person said Redacted never told her it was Kohberger, but that she could connect the dots because it was the only one person causing problems in all these classes. She stated it was circulating through the multicultural class that Kohberger was a traditional person who believes in traditional marriage. She told us there was quite a diverse group of students who are not traditional students. Redacted told us about a student who was pacing around her office and near Kohberger's office. When this person asked what was going on, what they were doing, this person told her she wanted to put an ally sticker on Kohberger's office door. What's that mean? Ally sticker. Okay. Redacted explained to Redacted that Kohberger did a presentation in the multicultural class and asked the class a question he did not get to hear. Kohberger. Oh wait, hold on. He did not get to hear the answer to. Sorry. This person claimed Kohberger gave his answer to the class and said something to the effect of, I the answer to? I think it means I gave the answer to. Redacted claimed Kohberger gave his answer to the class and said something to the effect of, I don't know. Why am I like, I already have my answer. It's wrong. Okay. Redacted said whatever the question was, it led the class to believe Kohberger was homophobic, transphobic, or both. She said she personally placed the alley sticker on Kohberger's door. She said Kohberger quickly complained about the sticker and she removed it. She described Kohberger as a flat affect, some seemed to stare into nothing, talked through you, not with you, always geared up for a debate and never relaxed in the limited time she had seen him. She said she had never heard Kohberger laugh in the few times her and Kohberger were both in their offices at the same time. She had only seen approximately 2 female students in Kohberger's office and all appeared to be appropriate behavior. She brought up another incident. Someone had told her about Kohberger and his mentor, who was a Juris Doctorate. And an instructor, sorry. Kohberger was redacted teacher assistant. So this person said Kohberger and this professor had a disagreement in the office. She explained the disagreement escalated to the point of shouting and redacted telling Kohberger to leave. Kohberger refused to leave and this person ended up leaving instead. She said she did not know what the argument was about, but was surprised because it was the first time this has happened with Kohberger and a male that she knew about. Oh. Redacted could not remember seeing Kohberger after the murders and could not speak to any behavior changes. She stated even though she had weird thoughts about Kohberger, she did not think he was behind the murders. She said she pegged him as a stalker or sexual assaulter type. This is a professor. Y'all are thinking these things and you're not saying something? Redacted had no idea about Kohberger's social media presence because he didn't have one. She described Kohberger's office as sterile with nothing in it. I mean, he didn't need a lot, I guess. He was a minimalist. I can't believe all of these things were going on and nobody said, maybe we should kick him out of the program now. Right, Ashley? That's what I'm wondering. Like, I want to call and ask him or like write him. I want to write I'm like writing down a list right now. I'm like, why are all these things going on and you didn't get rid of him sooner? He wasn't even there for a couple months and he's already acting out of pocket. Like, and it's not like he's just a student, right? It's not like he's just a student there. He is a TA. He is supposed to be held in a higher regard. So I think that they should have held him in a higher regard and got rid of him earlier. I mean, they probably were just like, he's very smart. We want to try to help him. Just like everybody his whole life did, right? Like his parents, they babied him. Before they called the cops on him, he had probably done a whole list of things before he stole that cell phone. His buddy, supposed to be his best friend, he would beat up on him and he would still hang out with him, even though he was getting beat up by him. I mean, I think that people have babied Kohberger. That same guy, his dad had all that stuff stolen from his house and he knew it was Kohberger, but he couldn't like prove it. So, but he still let Kohberger come over and play with his son. If my dad suspected one of my friends stole something, there'd be no way that he would be like, yeah, she can come over and hang out. He'd be like, yeah, she can come over and hang out. And he'd have his magnifying glass on her, binoculars the whole time. So this is another interview. And they met with someone that was an owner of something in Pullman. So it says that they informed them on November 18th. Kohberger came in and changed his title and vehicle registration from Pennsylvania to Washington on his Hyundai Elantra. This person was able to provide us with security camera footage. Oh, I'd like to see that, including audio. Oh, I'd love to see that. Oh, I'd love to see that because that's like him and his own element. You know what I mean? Like candid. So I would like to see that. So of the transaction with her clerk and a receipt of the transaction. So they interviewed this person. This is the summary. She remembered Kohberger coming in to switch his plates from Pennsylvania to Washington. She recalled Kohberger was a super nice guy and very charming. She even added him to their Christmas card list. Is he Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde? I'm really beginning to think, oh my God, he is like the guy off Psycho. Could be very charming when he wants to be, but he's really a dick, you know? He did like Psycho, so maybe that's what he was trying to portray. I don't know. Because I go to the DMV. I'm very nice. I'm extremely nice. I have never been put on a Christmas card list before. Yeah, something. Maybe like I hate to say it, but do you think he's like disassociative? Like the way he talked about the visual snow and like all this now, I don't know. Maybe he is. But it says Kohberger wore gloves the entire time he was in, but didn't think it was abnormal due to the cold temperatures they were experiencing at the time. The reason Kohberger was switching his title and vehicle registration to Washington was that he was a graduate student at WSU and he needed to get residency. He already had residency. So he lied to you. But he would have to, when you move to Washington, I believe it said within 6 months you have to put your title into their state. I don't know what it is for Ohio, but I know that Vincent's been skirting by with his driver's license, his first driver's license when he turned 16. Since he was 16, he didn't even get his 21st driver's license. Don't know how that works, but he didn't. I was looking at it today and I was like, oh my goodness, you look crazy. He was 16 though. But he says it's because he's always done it online. I'm like, oh, that's smart. See, you don't go to the DMV, I do. It's a whole experience when you go to the DMV. So this person, they interviewed, it says regarding his telephonic activity with Brian Kohberger on July 9th. Says this initially didn't remember any interaction. Okay. Oh, okay. Pool party. Okay. So he's currently employed. Okay. This isn't telling us much. He was aware of the case and had seen Kohberger's picture after the arrest, but without any additional context, he didn't recognize him or have any memory of interacting with him. You didn't remember that guy? On January 11th, 2023, about 3 p.m., they talked to this person again. After we provided him the date and context of the telephone activity, this person provided the following information. He remembered meeting Kohberger at a pool party at the redacted apartments in Moscow. He had been invited by the DJ who was providing the music for the party. There were about 75 people at the party, most of them grad students. He and Kohberger just ran into each other while they were mingling and started talking about what they did at WSU. Kohberger was wearing board shorts with a gray shirt. You go from not knowing who the guy, you're like, I don't know who that is, to you know what he's wearing? Okay. Kohberger talked a lot about physical fitness. Kohberger seemed very focused on running, specifically trail running and running hills, like cross country, I guess. Kohberger was awkward, but he attributed it to him being new to the area. He agreed to go running with Kohberger at a later time and provided him his phone number by calling and texting Kohberger's phone. He ultimately did not go running with Kohberger. Okay. So someone else regarding her interactions with Kohberger. Okay, so she never talked to Kohberger. She saw him one time at a holiday potluck. She didn't interact with him. Okay. At the potluck, Kohberger was dressed in all black and wearing black gloves. She noted it was cold outside, but everyone else had removed their outdoor gear. He was wanting to keep them hands covered. I wonder if he did that, though, in Pennsylvania. Like, I wonder if this isn't... I'm going to ask my brother today. Like, my mom, maybe she got gentle soap, right? Or maybe she was sneaky and she put like half of the soap in the bottle in that bathroom or something. Like, because my brother was we're all OCD, but I'm talking... I was a kid and I had never seen anything like it in my life. You know what I mean? Washing your hands 18 times before someone stops you. I mean, like washing, drying, touching the doorknob twice, and then doing all of the things the same way again. But I never remember my brother's hands ever being chafed or dry or red. I think I would remember that. If they were like bright red, like Brian's hands, or even purple like that, I think I would look and be like, what the heck? Are you having like circulation problem? But we don't know. I don't know. It says that this person got up and Kohberger stared at him the entire time he was standing. Okay. The following are examples of complaints she had heard against an undergraduate student who was later identified as Kohberger. Okay. So this person said that Kohberger would show up 15 minutes late before the end of the day and talk these two people's ears off and not take social cues when they would say they had to finish up work, and sometimes he would follow them to the parking garage. A mandatory discrimination and harassment training was held for all graduate students because of issues pertaining to him. I forgot about that. Let me write the page down because I might just have to go back to this. Okay. He didn't take social cues and he made people feel uncomfortable. This person said she got a weird feeling when she saw him talking with another person and hung out in the kitchen and washed her dishes really slowly because she felt like she should be there. People do not trust people around him. And he's still a TA. Like, I mean, oh my gosh. The skin shapes on the inside of the palms and you look like you can peel it off. Oh, mermaid, that's terrible. I hope you kind of, I don't know if you necessarily grow out of it. My brother doesn't do it anymore. My brother's like completely like, I don't see any OCD type behavior in my brother anymore, except for he does pace a lot, but I think that's just like a nervous thing that he does. Every once in a while I'll see him like touch the doorknob twice or something like that. But other than that, I haven't seen anything. And it's really because of his wife. His wife was like, stop it. Like we didn't know how to treat it back then, right? This was a long time ago. And so we would just tell him to stop, like stop doing that, take the soap away from him, things like that. But now that I have it, I feel so bad for him because I'm like, poor guy just wanted to wash his hands 18 times. I mean, I guess at least he wasn't out there doing drugs. I don't know. That's probably what my mom thought too. I don't think she realized she had OCD though. I don't think she realized it. And my grandmother had it too. I'm sure my great grandmother had it. I remember her, so I wouldn't know. But there was no trash even in like my grandmother's trash. She would always take it like out to the garage. She was very OCD. That's why when they say like about Brian, like, you know, sorting his trash, like at first and for the longest time, really, I've said, no way, Jose, right? But if he has an OCD behavior, like a hoarding kind of one, which it doesn't look like he does because he didn't have a lot of stuff in his apartment. He didn't have a lot in his office. Then I could see maybe why he would keep his trash, right? Like hoarders, that's like a hoarding kind of thing. And that's a part of like OCD in my brain. It all kind of connects. So but I don't think that's why he was doing it. I think he was just trying to hide that shit. Yeah. Kathy, that's mine. Everything has a place. And I think mine's because I'm blind in one eye. So if I can't find something, my blood pressure goes up and, it's like, where is it? So this person came in to report a photograph she found on Facebook Marketplace for a white vehicle with what appeared to be blood smeared on it. Okay. So this Miss Redacted thought it was unusual enough to report it to the police and thought it somehow could be related to the homicides. Okay. It was a Chevy Impala. So we can go past that. That lady probably wasn't even blood. It was probably dirt. Okay. Well, here it is. Oh yeah. I forgot about this one. I don't know what this is, but I don't think it's BLOD. I think it's paint, but it looks like it. Now, was this during Halloween or something? Because I remember seeing this and I was like, what the hell? Or did someone just do that for like shits and gigs? I don't know. And then they got that picture of it. Like, these are the worst pictures. I could take a better. These are pictures on someone's phone. Come on now. Get a camera. These are okay. This one's upside down. That's okay though. They don't tell you the person's name or anything. So, like, who would put their car like that on for sale? Come buy my car. I'm trying to find if there was another picture. There's not. They're all like that. But come buy my car with all this red stuff all over. It looks like blood and handprints. Oh yeah, Marcy, if I went through all of mine, it'd be funny. Did you guys hear my stomach just growl? I'm not hungry. I ate right before the live, but it growled loud. Okay. So then on January 17th at about 2 p.m., they interviewed another girl regarding her interactions with Kohberger. So she was currently employed at WSU. She had few interactions with Kohberger, but remembered 4 incidents specifically. Okay. The first interaction was in September 2022 during an orientation event. Okay, at Paradise Creek. Kohberger had sat beside her and they engaged in small talk during the event. The second interaction included a WSU student she identified. Kohberger was lingering in an office someone was working in, attempting to make small talk later in the day. Her maternal instinct wouldn't allow her to leave this person alone with Kohberger, so she found small tasks and reasons to stay until Kohberger left. After Kohberger left, she asked this person if she was all right and told her if she needed anything to email her with the email subject stating 911. I'm about to fly out to Washington school and get an answer for this. This is ridiculous. The third interaction, this is what the victim's family should be working on. Stopping stuff like this from happening, like TAs. If you are in a high position like that, you're fired. You're fired. If people are uncomfortable and students are that uncomfortable with you and they are making complaints like this, complaint after complaint after complaint, then it's time for you to go, right? That's what I would think. The third interaction was a brief contact in a hallway as her and Kohberger passed each other. The fourth interaction was during the holiday party during the second week of December. Kohberger asked her if the pot stickers she brought were homemade, to which she responded that they were store-bought. Overall, her observations of Kohberger were that he was awkward, talked a lot, and was respectful to those he interacted with. Okay, well, she says he's respectful. But then, people, 1 minute they'll be like, he's respectful. The next minute they're like, we don't like him. So this is someone else. And this is about the residents. So processing the residents, it looks like. So we got the suspect up there. And looks like they data processing equipment. Okay, let's see. On December 29th, 2022, Washington State University Police Department Assistant Chief Don Daniels authored a search warrant for, I forget his address, but where he lives. The residence belonged to Kohberger. MPD had identified Kohberger as the suspect in the quadruple murder occurring on November 13th, 2022. Kohberger had been arrested by the Pennsylvania State Police under a warrant by MPD. At about 7:12 a.m., AC Daniels and members of WSU PD executed the warrant at Kohberger's residence. The residence was empty. At about 7:17 a.m., I started the pre-search video of the residence. Once completed, ISP forensic scientist, I'm just going to say the first names, Jenny, Tara, and Haley, started processing the residence, including 3D scans, photographs, and evidence collection. Oh, they did a 3D scan of his apartment too. Look at that. The following items were seized. Okay, let's see. If it's anything different, I don't think it will be though. Dark colored nitro glove. I'm just going to say what they were. I'm not going to say where they were found at. Walmart receipt with corresponding clothing tag. 2 Marshall's receipts. A dust canister. 8 potential hair strands. Amazon Fire Stick. Possible animal hair. Possible hair. Possible hair. Possible hair. Possible hair. Computer tower. DNA swab. Red/colored brown stain. Mattress cover with multiple red/ stains, and those were blood on the mattress and the cover. The other ones were not. While processing the residence, AC Daniels learned that there was a storage unit associated with the residence. AC Daniels completed an amendment to the warrant for the inclusion of the storage unit. After the amendment was granted, AC Daniels, heirs, and I inspected the storage unit. The unit located inside the building was vacant and appeared unused. There was no lock on the door and multiple cobwebs spanning the entrance. I photographed the storage unit and no further processing was done. After ISPFS processed the residence, all items collected were turned over to AC Daniels. AC Daniels left the copy of the warrant on the living room couch along with an itemized list of property seized. Well, it had a living room couch, so it had stuff in there. I completed a post-search video of the residence and secured the door with AC Daniels. I wonder who, I'm curious about that, actually. I'm curious. So if he had like a couch, I'm sure, and he had like a bed and things of that nature, right? Who picked up that stuff? Did his parents just tell the apartment to get rid of it? Or did they fly back out there at some point and take ownership of his stuff? Because think about this, right? If your parents think you're innocent and you go to jail and you have to get the stuff out of the apartment, your parents are going to pay for you to get a storage unit or something like that, right? They're going to put it all in storage for you because they're going to think that you're innocent in the beginning of all this, especially, I would think, and that you're going to need your stuff back. You're going to be out. You're going to be out in a few days. You're not even going to be there very long where you're innocent, man. We don't believe you did this. We're your parents. I would think they would do that, right? But if they told them just to get rid of it, to me, that's almost like, they thought you were guilty. I don't know. And welcome in, everybody. It's been coming in. So at 7:33, the scene was cleared. And then they provided photographs and the 3D scans. And they transported the evidence collected to MPD. Okay. Dog's back there snoring with her tongue out. Having a weird dream. She's funny. So then the next one. So they're going to interview managers. It says people renting storage units. Okay, so let's see. Was he renting a storage unit? So I contacted the manager of something storage with the phone number. They allowed me to view a list of current renters at their facility, redacted an employee, later provided me with a digital copy of all current renters and their contact information. They contacted the owner and they put me in touch with his manager, and they allowed me to view a list of current renters at the facility and later provided me with a digital copy of all current renters and their contact information. Brian Kohberger's name was not immediately apparent as being connected to renting a storage unit from either business. Okie dokie. So this is going to be about the homicides. And this is going to be about the office that was shared with Brian Kohberger. On December 29th, Washington State Police Department, Don Daniels authored a search warrant for the office that belonged to Kohberger and two fellow Washington State University students. Okay, MPD had identified Kohberger as a suspect. At 8:16 p.m., AC Daniels executed the warrant at Kohberger's office. The office was empty. At about 8:18 p.m., I started a pre-search video of the office. Once completed, ISP forensic scientist Tara Martinez photographed the office. No belongings of Kohberger were identified. No items were seized for evidentiary purposes. At about 8:52 p.m., the office was secured and the scene was cleared. Okay. Okay, so then we were going down here. The interview is referenced to Kohberger. On January 5th, 2023, at approximately 12:56 p.m., they interviewed this person at MPD, and it says they provided receipts and documentation regarding Kohberger's stay at the redacted from June 30th, 2022 to July 1st, 2022. This person called a tip into the FBI tip line on December 30th. However, the interview took place after the probable cause affidavit for Kohberger's arrest was released to the public on January 5th. The following is a summary of our interview. For full details, review the audio recording. Okay. Kohberger checked in on June 30th, 2022 at approximately 4:52 p.m. The reservation was made in Kohberger's name through Expedia, but only Kohberger was seen. Redacted was training as a new front desk clerk and checked Kohberger in. This person overcharged Kohberger during the check-in process. Kohberger became upset due to the mistakes made on his bill during check-in. The room had already been paid for through Expedia, but he was charged again. Redacted corrected the mistakes on the billing, and he became nice once everything became corrected. Well, I'd be pissed too if you charged my credit card and I already paid. Sorry. Kohberger later came down to the front desk and asked her to make a set of key cards for his room and leave them for someone named, and it's redacted, The following morning, she went upstairs to see if Kohberger was going to check out at the appointed noon checkout time. As she approached his room to contact him, he was standing in the doorway, leaving. As they walked down to the front desk, they talked about sheaths and collecting knives. Once at the front desk, they talked about self-defense weapons and their knife collections. The key cards for that person were still at the front desk when he was checking out. Her night auditor, redacted and redacted, remember seeing the key card that was left for this person at the front desk. This person said she was unable to fix the mistakes in the billing during check-in, and they would have to be fixed the next day by her prime manager. During the interview, she changed her story every time we tried to circle back to clarify her timeline and confirm her role and the actions she took during Kohberger's stay. On January 5th at approximately 4:06 p.m., they interviewed this person via telephone. The following is a summary of our interview. For full details, review the audio recording. Okay. So this person, during the summer of 2022, they worked at the hotel in Pullman, Washington. She worked the front desk at the hotel. She quit sometime before October. This person was her manager and called to tell her that she had checked in the suspect of the Moscow homicides, Kohberger. This person told her that she had double charged him, and he became really upset. But then he became nice and kept coming downstairs flirting with her. She did not see anyone else checking in with him, nor did she remember Kohberger requesting a key to be made for a visiting guest. She normally worked the front desk from 3:30 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. On January 5th at approximately 3:27 p.m., the detectives interview someone else via telephone, and then the following is a summary of that interview. So this person has worked for Redacted for over 2 years and primarily works the front desk and night audit. He worked the evening of July 1st, 2022 at the front desk and started around 3:30 p.m. after Kohberger would have checked in. He remembered seeing some spare key cards that were left on the front desk at the start of his shift. Normally, when a guest requests to leave a room key for a visitor, it is put in the computer under the guest name, and when the visitor shows up, they are issued a card. Sometimes they make the key cards before the visitor shows up and then pass them on to an employee taking over next shift. On January 5th, 2023 at approximately 4:13 p.m., the detective interviewed this person via telephone. This person was working as a night auditor on June 30th, 2022 and started his shift at 11 p.m. The following morning, his shift ended at 7 a.m. He heard secondhand from Redacted that she made a key card for Kohberger that was made for, and it has the person's name redacted out. He doesn't remember for sure if he saw the key card while he was working his shift on the 30th, but he does remember that no one came in that evening asking for a key card to Kohberger's room. On January 5th, 2023 at approximately 3:53 p.m., the detectives interviewed someone else during video call, or via telephone, sorry. This person has worked at the hotel in Pullman for 8 years. He had no interactions with Kohberger during his stay. When he came into work the next day, July 1st, 2022, he remembered seeing a key card at the front desk that had the name Redacted written on it. At the time, he was unaware of what guest had requested it. Once Kohberger's name had been released as the suspect in the homicide case, Redacted informed him that he had been a guest at the hotel and mentioned he was the one who requested a key card for someone named and Redacted. He remembers this person fixing the overcharging of Kohberger's credit card when they made the mistake during his check-in. Okay. And they gave all that evidence over. So these items were, okay, so they returned to 1122 King Road. The items of evidence were marked with number placards, and I photographed the exhibits. The following evidence was recorded and or collected. This was on December 3rd. They went back and got this? Okay. So empty Keystone can be located in the stairway between the first and second floor. Black Jansport backpack located in the living room floor along the north wall of the second floor. And if you've seen the crime scene photos, you know exactly what this stuff is. Open full Keystone can located on the top of the vanity along the south wall on the first floor, east side bedroom. At about 5:50 p.m., I locked the front door, notified the security guard of our status, and left the scene. I transported the items collected to MPD. Okay. And then I entered the scene photographs into evidence. I think this is just stairs, so I think we're good still. Let me double check. We'll remove it real quick. I think it's just the stairs though. Oh, and then that wall where they sprayed for blood. Okay. Oh yeah, these and then the pictures of the desk. Okay, these are fine. I think I went through all of them and there was nothing like gory. So I just wanted to make sure before I show you guys because I don't want to show anything that's, just too bad. So it's just put this back up here. The stairs, like and then there's the Keystone can. Remember they were talking about people buying Keystone Light earlier. I wonder who that was and if they're trying to like match it up. Yeah, I thought that was weird. The hotel stay thing. I don't believe in that. And then there's the Jansport backpack. They did spray the wall right here with luminol. It's called Blue Star. That's why it's blue. It's a special kind of luminol. It's like their top line or something. If you want to like, think about it, like it's the, I don't know how to explain it. It's the Rolls Royce of luminols, I guess you could say. It's really good. I've heard a lot about it. I've researched a lot about it. So that's the Jansport backpack that they took. And that's what these pictures are, just the stuff that they took. So, and this laundry hamper right here, I used to have that. I hated that thing. It was so small. But when I saw that, I was like, oh, I used to have that. Now, this actually looks like, now that I'm looking, it maybe Bethany's room because that big window. And it just shows nothing, just the Keystone cans. Taking a close-up picture. Someone was chewing tobacco or smoking cigarettes. One or the other, because they had those cans all busted up. See, I don't know, because then it looks like they made a mess on the bed, whoever's room it is. So look at that. Okay. If they were using amino black, that would be used more for if they were picking they were trying to get like a fingerprint in blood, or if they were trying to get like a shoe print, something like that. I believe that's when they would use the amino black. These people know how to drink. So look at this. Oh no, they were living the college life, And I hope that the time that they spent, they did have a good time. Because it looks like they did. Okay, I think that's all the pictures. So this is just interviews. Okay. Oh, this is a phone tip regarding a suspicious vehicle, similar to that of the suspect vehicle. Okay. Okay, it says he contacted this person on January 18th. He recalled the event after the possible route Kohberger had taken after the murders was published. He went downstairs to let his dog out around 5:30 a.m. and noticed a white car similar to that of the suspect vehicle parked at the end of his driveway. After a few minutes, the car pulled out and stopped at the stop sign at US Highway 95 for quite a while before proceeding into the highway. He stated it's not uncommon for vehicles to take a wrong turn and use his driveway to turn around and consult their GPS. Okay. Receipt on January 13th. It says Kohberger's bank card ending in 1973 had been used at, it's redacted. What is this, the Marshalls? I don't know. F.A. Douglas requested a copy of the receipt for that transaction. So they went to the location located in Uniontown, Washington. This location is a remote redacted with no visible surveillance cameras or staff on site. Oh, maybe I don't know. So then it says they emailed the headquarters and they got the following. So it was okay. So it was a receipt, $52.85, regular unleaded gas. So he got some gas. Okay, that's fun. These people interviewed someone. So it says for the FBI tip line, it says crisis serial 9152 lead 216. A report of possible interaction he had with Kohberger. Okay. On October 9th, 2022, at about 1:32 a.m., this person and his friend were walking along a trail near the golf course looking for golf balls. They heard a branch snap behind them. He turned around and he was startled when he saw an unknown male and told him, "Oh shit, you scared me." The male did not say anything in response and kept walking on the trail. The male had a slim face with slim cheekbones, a defined face, and shorter, curlier hair. The male was wearing a black hoodie with a dark Carhartt-style overcoat and dark pants with dark hiking-type boots. So then on January 19th, they interview someone else at Washington State University. She was looking for her TA and mistakenly went to Wilson Short Hall and saw Kohberger there. He asked her if she needed anything, and she said she did not. He was nice, but it was awkward. She got a little bit of a weird vibe, but nothing too crazy. He seemed to frequent the bookie. I don't know what that is. She thought her feelings were possibly based on the layout and the vibe of the building. He made a lot of eye contact, like you couldn't look away type of eye contact. He seemed proper, but kind of shy and awkward. So then they interview Washington State University in the Bookie bookstore. Okay, so I guess that's what the Bookie is. It's a bookstore. Okay. And then it says that this person, he stated he would act as a buffer between her and Kohberger when he would come in. Okay, so the following is the summary. He felt Kohberger was annoying and wanted him to leave every time he came through his line. He is not fond of customers that talk too much. Kohberger would ask this person for a discount. And it says, i.e. order an Americano, but ask for a brew coffee price. Oh my gosh. He felt like Kohberger was attempting to flirt with redacted and was absolutely zeroing in on her. He felt like Kohberger was bad at flirting. He felt this person was too polite to Kohberger, which he felt Kohberger interpreted as flirting. He told her he would start telling Kohberger she was on the phone when he would come in so she wouldn't have to interact with him. She was too polite to ask him to do this. He did it on his own because he felt if he were a woman receiving unwanted attention, he would want someone to do it for him. Seems like a nice guy. So then they do another, they have another tip, 2 tips. And this is the following is a summary of the interview. He is not enrolled in classes for the spring 2023 semester. He did not remember his activities in the days leading up to the homicides. He remembers getting the vandal alert on his phone the day of the homicides and staying in that night, somewhat in shock. It says he was working somewhere in the fall 2022 semester and worked on grading and took graded papers in on the Monday following the homicides. He had some redacted towards the end of the semester and took an incomplete on his classes for that semester. Okay. Look at all this redaction. That's all redacted. He went to something with Gonzalez and possibly one other victims, but never had any contact with them. Okay, that makes no sense. So then they had another interview, but this is a telephone interview. Kernodle and Mogan worked for Mad Greek, I'm going to assume, for approximately 2 years. Mogan was a reliable employee who was well liked. Kernodle was a redacted. She would redacted and call in sick. So I wish that we could know this. Like this is stuff that's like not. I mean, why is it redacted? You know, I mean, it's maybe because it won't look favorable. But I mean, if someone is that young and they're calling in sick to work because they have a hangover or something, that's being a college kid. I feel like, you know what I mean? Like you should not be like doing that at that point. But at the same time, it's like, I mean, you know, they're still kids in a way. But it said Kernodle got better over the past year and was well liked. Both girls were very sweet in nature. I bet you that Xana might have had like a little bit of the ADHD because she says that everywhere she went, she was a little late. And they say that's like a big characteristic. I don't really have that part of it. I'm usually very early, but I wish they weren't redacting that. But it says both girls were very sweet in nature. She did not know either girl well outside of work. Mogan ran the Instagram feed for the business. She is unaware of anything unusual happening with either girl at the business or in their personal lives. She provided us with 2 names and phone numbers of other, coworkers, I think, who worked with Kernodle and Mogan. In the follow-up text message with Detective Powell, she provided the name and phone number of a third employee. So then they conducted phone interviews regarding his knowledge and relationship with Kernodle and Mogan. So this person provided the information. He was not friends with either one outside of work. He remembers that either Kernodle or Mogan told him they had a stalker, but wasn't sure which one told him that. He was unaware of a Twitch stream video taken at a food truck that showed Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez together the night they were killed. Or he was aware. He was aware. His friend Redacted showed him the video, and this person was at the food truck at the same time Gonzalez and Mogan were there. He was unsure of the person's last name. So this person told him a guy who walked up with Gonzalez and Mogan told him he was there to help them get home. But in the video, the girls never talked with the guy. In reference to his viewing of the video, it looks like the guy recognizes there's a camera and he flips his hat around and pulls up his hoodie. This person told him when the girls left the food truck, they got into a blue Honda or a blue sedan. He was unsure. On November 16th, 2022, ISP Detective Powell and I conducted a telephone interview with this person regarding her knowledge and relationships with Kernodle and Mogan. This person provided the following information. She worked at Mad Greek since May of this year. She never worked with Mogan, but she was friends with Kernodle at work, but never hung out outside of work. She bonded with Kernodle over having their first boyfriends. She goes to school at, it's redacted, Kernodle lived in a house which she described as a rough environment prior to moving into her current residence. There was a lot of partying at that house. Things got better for her after she moved out. She knows that She believes Kernodle told another coworker she had a stalker, but didn't hear that from her personally. She heard that from 2 other people after Kernodle was killed. Kernodle and another, I'm assuming girl or employee, did not get along. This person didn't get along well with most staffers at Mad Greek, but thinks it's all work related. On November 18th, they had another telephone interview. And this person was in a relationship and living with, it's redacted. She had heard from this person that Kernodle and Mogan had a stalker, but wasn't familiar with any details. She knew no personal details about either of them. End of that interview. Then they conducted another interview at the Moscow Police Department. And this person works for several local businesses. This person provided the following information. Reference the audio interview recording for full details. Okay. This person worked somewhere for approximately 4 to 5 years. He knew Xana for 4 or more years, though. Approximately 2 months prior to the homicide, he went to Kernodle's residence to fix a dryer for $50. He mainly had contact with redacted employees, but he did have someone to help with small jobs away from work. This person took off his sweatshirt, rolled up his sleeves, and showed us his bare arms. There were no visible injuries or notable marks. He attempted to text Kernodle after hearing of the homicide. She did not respond. So then on November 22nd, they conducted another telephone interview. This person provided the following information. She started working at Redacted. I'm assuming Mad Greek. Yeah. As of mid-July to August of 2022, she did not know Kernodle and Mogan very well. She did not spend time with either of one away from work. Redacted is touchy, gives her a creepy vibe, and asked her an inappropriate question. She said Redacted was at Redacted eating one day when a girl walked in with a low-cut shirt, and he asked if that girl was Ard, it would be her fault. She wondered why he would say something like that and just thought he was a little creepy. Who was the person? Who was this guy? It just says like this person, like gives a name. So I don't know. Must be someone that works there or worked there because it's closed now. Okay. So this is about somebody like watching the breaking news of when it happened. So on December 30th, okay, they have an interview at approximately 10:15 a.m. Detective Tolson and I met with this person, her mother, and a couple other people. Provided insight into our interview. Let's see. The interview began at approximately 11:12 a.m. Present were Detective Tolson, and then it's redacted, and me. The following is a summary. Okay. Before residing in Moscow, Idaho, she had become friends with, and it's redacted, through her sorority pledge class. Through the sorority and redacted, she met and became friends with Maddie Mogan, who was, I don't know, in the sorority. I think it's the name of the sorority. During the spring of 2022, through Mogan, she met Kaylee Gonzalez, but really didn't really get to know her since she was in a different sorority. In August 2022, she met Xander Kernodle and Kernodle's boyfriend, Ethan Chapin. For the fall 2022 semester, the five, Mogan, Gonzalez, and Kernodle, became redacted at the residence and quickly became good friends. Chapin was a regular at the residence, which helped them to feel safe within the house. Gonzalez was a very funny person, a prankster, very hardworking, and a person with positive energy. Gonzalez had been in a long-term relationship, but the two mutually separated. They shared the dog Murphy. Gonzalez may have been in a relationship with someone else, but it was redacted. It says redacted was Kernodle's redacted. Mogan was very loving, a genuine person, social and outgoing. Mogan could be sassy, strong-minded, protective of others, and could tell others to back off if they were inappropriate or unwanted. Mogan was in a good relationship, but there was a kiss between Mogan and redacted while visiting or vacationing in Mexico. Kernodle was very energetic with positive energy, hardworking, nice, and genuine. She would tell the absolute truth. Kernodle was totally nice, but a fighter and would address issues if needed. Kernodle was in a relationship with Chapin, and the two were very good together. Both Kernodle and Chapin were fun and the life of the party. Kernodle was close with Chapin's maybe brother-sister, triplets. Chapin was a social person, easygoing and easy to talk with, goofy and likable. He and Kernodle were never far apart and had a great relationship. This person enjoyed having Chapin at the residence. So this must be Bethany. I think maybe this is Bethany. I don't know. Redacted is a lot like Mogan. She wasn't actively in a dating relationship, but hung out with redacted. Within the residence, Mogan and Gonzalez were the moms of the group. Kernodle was the fun sibling, and she and, I'm assuming Dylan, were the young ones of the group and enjoyed hanging out with the others. All of the roommates enjoyed partying at the residence, at Greek functions, and elsewhere. This person was regularly consumed at the residence by the roommates and others, and redacted was used by some. Okay, so I'm going to say alcohol, maybe. I don't know. The roommates had common friends, and they're redacted. All the roommates used iPhones and social media applications for communication, mostly Snapchat. This person wasn't aware of anyone using social media or other platforms for money, but recalled Mogan may have made some money from a swimsuit brand for sharing her swimsuit pictures. Mogan and Kernodle worked at the Mad Greek restaurant. Gonzalez worked at home for a company, and Chapin, I'm going to say Bethany and Dylan were not employed. Okay, so redacted would sometimes go to Pullman, Washington for entertainment and food, but she couldn't recall going to the Washington State University campus. She believed Kernodle had been to WSU to visit her, and it's redacted. I'm going to write this down. Okay. Where were we at? Before the murders, Gonzalez had claimed to have seen a shadowy figure watching her from a vegetated area behind the residence, which freaked her out. Gonzalez had also told the roommates about a stalker in Moscow, Idaho. When Mogan and Gonzalez returned to the residence during the early morning hours of November 13th, 2022, I'm going to say Dylan and Bethany joined the two in Gonzalez's bedroom. The four were having fun and discussing their evening. Mogan repeatedly took Gonzalez grub truck food, so they wanted to get more, but none of them could drive. Dylan attempted to call the Uber driver to see if he could grab more grub truck food, but he wasn't available. See redacted prior interviews for full details. Okay. Well, I would like to see the full interviews. I'm going to put the full reports that Dylan said, like all the different stories or whatever, the stuff that she said on a video, and it'll be out this week by the end of this week. So just wanted to let you know. So it says, redacted doesn't know why her friends were murdered. Oh, Bethany, sorry. But speculated it could have been out of rejection or her ego. She believes if Mogan or Gonzalez were approached by an unwanted person, Mogan would have told him to back off or go away. She also believes the suspect could have been a stalker. Bethany claims she and Dylan were often freaked out at the house, and she felt there was someone outside her window facing the backyard periodically. She normally locks the doors, but doesn't recall if she locked the doors on the morning of November 13th, 2022. Maybe this is Dylan. But it says, redacted recalled the suspect having bushy eyebrows and wearing a mask. She couldn't recall telling redacted about the suspect having a big nose, but stated she doesn't remember most details of her conversation. After retreating, it would be to Bethany's bedroom. Prior to her interview, redacted had learned the news about Kohberger's arrest and had seen his picture in her. Redacted, she stated, from people releasing Brian Kohberger's name, I know it's him, but I don't know. In her interview, she stated, after looking at Kohberger's picture on the news, nothing came back to me at all. So that, and I feel like if I saw that, my mind would be like, oh yeah, that's him, but I just don't remember at all. Okay, I want to put this interview in there too. Like this part, so we all have them all. So it says, she feels like there has been a glass wall between her and the things she saw and heard during the murders. She can't understand why he didn't hurt her or Bethany, especially after she saw him inside the house. She stated the murderer was in all black and carrying an object like a small vacuum. She thought he was wearing black boots. She doesn't recall why she thought he was carrying a mini vacuum, and she had never seen the object before. Interview audio. Okay. Okay, so we'll go to 400. Okay, that'll work. Okay, so on November 21st, the detectives picked up digital evidence in Moscow. On November 21st, they picked up digital evidence. So on November 21st, they picked up more digital evidence. Downloaded digital evidence. It doesn't say where they were from. November 23rd, picked up digital evidence. 23rd picked up. 22nd, December 22nd, picked up. City of Pullman, Whitman County. Okay. On December 22nd, 23rd, and 27th, they picked up digital evidence. Okay, this might be all picked up digital evidence. So yeah, picked up more digital evidence, login password access for financial business transactions. On January 3rd, I picked up a server blade from redacted an employee. Okay. Picked up multiple receipts. Brian Kohberger made 3 purchases from this business on 2 days in November 2022. They provided me with receipts for 3 purchases and an owner's manual for one of the items purchased, a 2,000-watt Jupiter power inverter. Redacted also provided receipts for sales of a fixed bladed knife, Harbor Freight sells, none purchased by Kohberger. I was provided a copy of videos of Kohberger's purchases from Redacted, an employee at Redacted, on January 5th, 2023. I turned the receipts and video evidence over to the task force. January 5th, they went to this location. I had a photograph of 2 receipts found in Kohberger's vehicle. That must be the Marshalls, maybe. Vehicle for purchases made at that location. They met with the person, showed her receipts, and she helped identify the unknown items as multi-pack t-shirts and or undergarments. I entered photos of the receipts into e-file. Maybe not. January 11th, I picked up downloaded video surveillance. A purchase made by Kohberger. So they emailed them copies. I turned the receipts and video evidence. Okay. January 13th, I picked up multiple receipts and purchases made by Kohberger and a purchase made by redacted. And it was in Moscow. Okay. Provided hard copies. I picked up receipt of a purchase made by Maddie Mogan. It doesn't say where. I met with the manager and he provided me with a printed hard copy of the transaction. Okay, so then we'll go through the transactions really quick. So this is Marshall's gourmet food. So he got like the food that's in the front of the line, you know, like the snacks that they have at like TJ Maxx and stuff like that. Like they have like, you know, they're like gourmet gummy bears and like stuff like that, peach rings and all those little things, like little candies. I don't know, nuts and stuff. So he went in 2 different days and men's furnishings. Is that what she's talking about? What she's saying? Underwear, men's furnishings to me sounds like home stuff, but okay. So he paid 44 and then he went back and paid 55. Wonder why he went 2 days. Was there someone working he thought was pretty or something? Okay. So we will stop there. We are on page 401. We are doing good. We're doing good. I'll probably be back on later tonight. Most likely I will. I'm just debating. I'm debating on it. But yeah, no, I think I will. I'll probably be back on tonight. Yeah. Yeah, Tracy, to me, I think that it could have been something that he took from Xana's room. Maybe like she had something sitting on the desk because they mentioned something about him sitting down in the chair in her room or whatever. And I think maybe at that point, because he was done, he thought he was done, right? Killing all the people. He would have been holding that knife like that's when he would have been like, where's the sheath? Because, you know, he would have wanted to put it back in the sheath. So I think maybe he put it in like some sort of canister that was in Xana's room. I don't know. Yeah, she also said something else, I thought. Because she thought it was a firefighter, remember? And maybe like he was carrying an axe or something. I am, aren't I, Willis? We're just getting through it. I was like, just at least get to the next 100. And it took us about an hour and 47 minutes. So that's not too bad. But I want to thank everybody for being here today. I appreciate it so much. I think tonight, if we when we do the live, maybe we'll do like the last 20 minutes, we'll do like members only. That way we can kind of do something for the members. I don't know. But I will be back on tonight, most likely. So if I don't, I'll of course put it on the community tab. But today is just like such a gloomy day. I'm not going to be going out and getting the sun, so I might as well just hang out with y'all. And I'm going to try to start on that video too. That the video of Dylan's statement. So yeah, maybe. Well, have a good day. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. I did say it was Wednesday, right? Yeah, it is Wednesday. And my little Vincent, he's out there getting his job. He's getting his stuff done. He has like one last thing to do, which is he went down there for like just for them to say hello to him, pretty much. You know what I mean? Like to say hello. And then he'll be back up here, he said soon. But I'm just proud of him. He went and got his flu shot yesterday. He got like a TB shot, and then he went today to get blood drawn. And the kid hates needles. He hates needles. So I should have went with him and held his hand. He's like, it's still stinging. I'm like, no, it's not. Men are like, when it comes to pain, they're the biggest babies. But thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, please like the video. Please subscribe. We're trying to reach 22.2 subscribers. I know it's weird. That's a weird number, but that's how I'm doing it. We're doing it by the 100 every year. So thank you guys so much for being here tonight or today. I will see you guys all later tonight. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Tonight, we're gonna let it rain. Just like the sunrise, we're gonna let it rain. Now. Just like a spark that's breaking out, can't make a stop.